everyone, and welcome to the American Scouser TV's post-match recap analysis show. Always easier and better to do them coming off of a victory. 3-0 to the good guys, a nice win at Anfield. We had some good performances, some questionable performances, and, of course, some man-of-the-match performances. So, Brian, let's start with you here. What were your initial reaction to the match? You know, the blistering first half. Where did you go? Where do you see it?
Again, another brilliant performance by Gravenberch. I mean, I know he started off a little bit shaky right there, but he grew into a match and basically just dominated that midfield. So, I mean, I think really, as I said in the pre-match, he was going to be my man of the match. I still keep him as my man of the match. I think it was overall it was a good day at the office. Pretty excited.
Just to prove that you can't make everybody happy, Alan Walnut jumps in. Sure was, but the amount of chances wasted is unreal. I'm not sure how you watch that match and come out complaining, but we appreciate all of our viewers as always, so get your comments in. Speaking of comments, Salim, 3-0, baby. That's a good comment there to have in your name. So how did you see this one shaking out? Specifically, what did you think of the first half performances by Diaz, Nunez, and Mo for the first time this year starting a match together up top?
Looked good. Diaz looked really good, obviously. I think maybe Diaz has been told or coached by the manager to be more aggressive at the goal, because last year he seemed to kind of dance around a little bit when he got into those positions. I mean, he's been lethal this year, and it's really nice to see. Darwin's goal, I mean, my God, it's unbelievable, this guy, right? He scores the hard ones, misses the easy ones. It's just unbelievable. That goal was outrageous. Great performance. A little shaky to start the game. I came out with a couple things from the Bournemouth side. I thought Semenyo was fantastic. But, man, within 11 minutes, the game was done and dusted.
Yeah, you talk about Nunez. This is one where, today's not a day where I'm going to make any kind of there's no real complaints about Nunez. His work rate was good. His effort was good. His defending, his pressing was timely. I thought he launched the press well. I'm pretty sure he didn't have a single offsides all match long, which is probably as shocking as the goal. Mm-hmm. I'm not shocked that he did it. I love the fact that he actually made the right decision. It's 9 times out of 10. I feel like that's where Darwin passes when he should shoot. He shoots when he should pass. I love the final decision in the final third. I love the 1-2 with Mo. I like the confidence that Mo shows in him. I like the fact that he takes that goal and he takes his opportunity, as we've talked about in the past. So just an all-around really good performance. I thought Diaz was very lively, like usual. I thought there were a few times where he made the wrong decision in the final third, but that's okay. I think when you create like that, again, kind of sloppy in possession at time for Mo, which is a little shocking. Don't love when we're up a few goals and Mo gets so greedy. But again, I'm not going to go all negative. I think we stay positive. But I think if we're going to talk positive, and I should say while we bring this up, this is our graphic created by our own Lydia Page from L Page Sports. So credit where the graphic is due. Love the graphics. Thank you, Lydia, for getting us the pre-match, halftime, and full-time graphics, and for all the stuff that you do to help us with the site. Another new graphic designer that is helping us out is Matt from SMZ. He's also going to be creating some player graphics. And the first template he made was for Ryan Gravenberch, which I'd argue has basically been the player of the season so far. And how can you talk about Gravenberch without talking about John? Afternoon, gents, from some hipster-ass coffee shop in New York City. Heard the gravy train ran well again today. It sure did, John, and you may have to miss more matches. That girlfriend of yours might need to keep you up. This is the way that the club is going to play when you are not there, especially Nunez, who I know you love to take some pot shots on Wednesday mornings at, along with the rest of the people on this channel. So let's start with Gravenberch's first half performance. I thought you could argue Diaz was man of the match in the first half. I think if you had the second half, I think it was probably Gravenberch. He really ran the midfield. You can start to see the player that everyone thought was coming out of Ajax that went on to Bayern. So Salim, how big of a step forward is this? And do we have to be careful that we don't get too overly excited and try to convince ourselves, we're watching the next coming of Zidane or Patrick Vieira, and remember it's still just a 5-6 match sample size of a 23-year-old who has had a few of these purple patches in his young career and never really lived up to the hype.
Yeah, well, he's had 2 years where he's played, hasn't played really that much. So him coming in and really stamping his name in every game that we've played so far is impressive. When you have a young guy that jumps up a level, it's always exciting, right? And we love to see that. And okay, I mean, we can't throw Zidane and Vieira out there, but I know, I hear you. But I think there's a lot to be excited about. The Zubamendi deal that we all was hoping to go through didn't, and blessing in disguise, right? Because this guy is balling. I mean, he is player of the year so far through the 5 games. Very impressed with everything he does. He's such long legs too. Like he just gets to balls that you don't think he would, and he's moving the ball forward. He's confident. Overall, really, really good player. I think we have a lot to be excited about, rightly so.
Brian, I'll throw it over to you. On the opposite spectrum, Serzi says, Nunez played like he enjoyed the game. But also Serzi says, it's a great win in spite of Sobo playing. If we're talking about and being fair and balanced, if we're talking about how good Gravenberch was, it was not a cover yourself in glory afternoon for Soboslai in the 10-hole. Does it come down to the fact that he's not a number 10 and doesn't really offer enough creativity in midfield from the center of the park? Or is it that it just doesn't fit for him in this iteration of this side?
He's not a number 10. He's not a creative midfielder. He definitely is a number 8, an 8 type player. And I think that if you basically have to have either a diamond or a flat formation, like midfield formation right there to get the best out of Szoboszlai. I know that he has played with RB Leipzig out on wide on the left before, which is something where I was hoping that we were see some experiments with him in preseason that we never really saw as much. But yeah, I mean, I think these games right there, when you're begging for somebody to go there to have more link up play with like with Darwin or with Jota right there, you would want to see like a Harvey out there, somebody like that would create that stuff. I'm still would be open right there too if we did go back into December and went in for a classic number 6. That you may go there. I know we talked about this on Monday. Right there, you may see a player like McAllister go up to that number 10 slot right there, and Szoboszlai may go back toward the bench or be like an impact sub going forward. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt right there. This is a brand new system for him that he's playing in, and he's a young player, so he has time to go through and grow into that position. But I still think that the creativity right there is more his line. He's a runner, and he's a forceful player. I mean, the finesse piece right there is something he's going to have to learn.
Spencer Stewart says, hello all. Spencer, if you're new here to the channel, welcome. Give it a subscription if you're just finding us randomly. If you've already been a subscriber, thank you for viewing. Trevor says, when Harvey's healthy, I think he takes that spot. I'd throw it over and I'd ask the question, but Harvey's going to be out for a couple months and then he's going to have to get back to fitness. So are we at a point where we have seen enough of Szoboszlai to this point that it's time to at least try some different things at some different areas of the pitch, maybe moving McAllister forward, giving, I expect Tyler Morton to start or Endo to start in the League Cup. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think when we play some of the lesser sides in the Champions League. We might even see some Endo minutes and maybe even some Tyler Morton minutes. Jones even playing alongside Gravenberch deep and allowing McAllister to go forward. So where do you see that midfield shaking out? Because at some point, I do think Szoboszlai either needs a rest or a little bit of a break, even to just maybe watch another player play in his position to try to get some ideas, because he looks almost like he's out of ideas in this in these tactics, Salim. What do you think? I'm gonna give Salim this one here, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you look at the other performances, and you can say Szoboszlai, obviously didn't have the best match. I mean, as far as like being trash or anything like that, I'm not there yet. I think there's a lot of positives that come from him. However, McAllister should be in that spot, in my opinion. When Jones came in for Szoboszlai, I said, oh, here we go. We're going to get another one or two if McAllister slides up. But they kept Jones there. I think that realistically, for the team to be the most lethal, McAllister has to be in that spot. That's why when Brian said, bringing another number 6 in, gives us more options. So I really like that idea. But you see him play for Hungary, and he's a world beater. Like, he's really, really good player. It could be a system thing. It could be a comfortable thing. It could be, hey, I'm playing here, I'm doing what I'm doing, and we're winning 2-3-0. So, you can't really be too harsh on him. But from a player performance, it was one of the lower ones.
So obviously, overall, big afternoon slate there at 10 o'clock Eastern matches. You had the big morning win for Chelsea beating West Ham. Lopetegui's got to start feeling the heat eventually. They just can't defend, just conceding goals. Fulham with a shock win over Newcastle. Tottenham with a big victory after dropping points early, or dropping a goal, going down in the first minute to a nice Brian Mbeumo goal. Mm-hmm. And then Everton capitulates late. So does Southampton at the death. What of these, and Villa comes back to win, which of these results jumps out at you the most? Brian, we'll start with you.
Well, of course, I'm probably going to save that. The Fulham at Newcastle definitely right there jumps out. I mean, I kind of think that, I know that they're still sitting on 10 points right there, but that Newcastle side should beat this Fulham side. I mean, there's enough talent that's on there that they should never fall to 3-1. And that third goal was a mess. I mean, if you get a chance to watch that on there, it was a terrible piece of defending. But yeah, that jumps out. And another thing to point out on there is that I think that the bottom of the table may stick. I mean, because I think that Southampton, Wolves, and Everton are probably the bottom tier of this league at the moment. So I think that you have a pretty good chance right there of seeing that. But I mean, that's really the biggest one that sticks out on me. I mean, it's a good win for Spurs to come to beat Brentford. I mean, that's a pretty solid result for them. But I mean, everything shook out the way it should.
And Salim, what about you? Around the grounds here before we kind of wrap things up on our post-match shows and get some thoughts of where we might go. We'll talk a little bit about the midweek match as well.
Sure. So, I agree with Brian. I think it's the Fulham result, but I'm just going to point out the Chelsea result as well. Nicholas Jackson not really being I think he's a close relative to Darwin Núñez when it comes to missing chances. So, the fact that he came up with 2 goals and Cole Palmer is on the score sheet, that team is young. They've brought in 1 million people. So seeing them sort that lineup out and to see what they can do is interesting to me. And the fact that they've won 6-2 against Wolves and now 3-0 shows that they're, they could be something to be dealt with come, maybe not this year, but next year.
Yeah, I do think that if Maresca works, and we'll see, it's a long way to go. They could be building something, obviously, at Chelsea. I think they actually are starting to build a core. He's picked his players. We'll see how it works for him. For me, I think the big one, I do think the Spurs results is big that they were able to rebound off of that. Obviously we lead to the big matchup tomorrow. We'll see where it goes with Arsenal and City. Brian, quickly, what do you think the result of that match will be? What do you want the result of that match to be?
I would rather have a draw. I think a draw would be perfect for us. And with that, what I think the result's going to be, I think that it depends on whether Odegaard is healthy enough to play.
Oh, he's not playing.
Well, he's
So
out. He's
he's
out till
not-
November.
Yeah, he's not playing.
He's out till November now.
City's going to run all over him. I mean, that's because they really run out of ideas with that. I mean, I was really surprised with the Spurs result, but I just don't think that they're going to have an answer right there for City again, probably another standout performance for Rodri again right there in that match. So I think City are gonna win. I'd rather have a draw in the long run because I don't want Arsenal to win either. So yeah.
Slim, what about you? What's the result you would like, and what is the result that you believe will happen?
Well, I'd like them both to lose in the same game, but that's not going to happen. I think Arsenal has a shot here. I don't think Man City's flying on all cylinders right now. So I think Arsenal actually does have a shot at this one. Manchester City, as Haaland has been just out of control balling, but I think Arsenal has a chance here. I think a draw is a very realistic result, Brian. I think, a good call out on that. I don't think City's going to roll all over them. Declan Rice is back for Arsenal playing after his red card. So he'll stabilize that midfield. Him and Partey in the middle, I think, will stabilize it, create more of a defensive type of shape, and hit him on the counter with Saka and, Martinelli and whoever else on the wings there. Trossard, maybe.
Yeah, I actually think that Arsenal, I think the result you root for, if you're talking with like a Liverpool heart, is you root for an Arsenal win because you need City to just drop as many points in the first half of the season, because from January 15th on, that we all know what's going to happen. They're going to run off 17 out of 18, and that's how they win the league when they win the leagues, right? Like you just, to me, any chance City can drop points, that's a good thing. It'll be interesting to me to see if De Bruyne can play. They play differently when he doesn't play. Haaland plays differently, obviously. Haaland is in great form, doesn't score great against Arsenal in his career. I think that's because of the way Gabriel and Saliba defend. I think they may play 11 behind the ball and play for a 0-0 draw. So I'll say it ends a draw, but I'm rooting for a 1-0, 2-0 Arsenal victory, because I also think it starts to put some doubt in City's minds. And it probably even gives a little bit of extra hope and push to Arsenal. Arsenal also going to want a performance after not putting in a good performance or a great performance against Atalanta in the Champions League. Obviously City drew with Inter Milan as well. So both of them have to be looking at this kind of like lick your wounds. Be an interesting one. It's, the nationally televised game of the weekend of the Fan Fest. So most likely it'll be a 0-0 draw, so Americans can bitch about football on Monday. And then we'll all get to watch an NFL football, and then Richard Hudson will come on here and yell at us and call it soccer. I mean football, Richard. kid Richard. So get you out of here, guys, on this. Real quick, Brian, what do you expect midweek against West Ham? How many changes from today's starting lineup would you make if you were the manager?
It'd be a lot of change. I think you definitely have this midfield is kind of, to keep them fresh. You need to go through and rotate them, especially with McAllister and Gravenberch. Really needs some rotation of them. So I think that Tyler Morton, who scored today right there, does have a good shot to come into this side against West Ham. Up front right there, I think you're probably going to have Gapco, and I can see Jota going starting on that, since he didn't start in this match. Kelleher, I don't even know what's going on with Allison. I'm trying to figure that out where his fitness issues are, but I assume that Kelleher will probably start again right back. I think we're going to see mentioned Kwanzaa will definitely probably wind up playing this weekend. Same thing with Gomez. I could probably see Simicast and probably over there and probably Bradley. I think we're going to have a lot of rest. I mean, in this side right there, because I think the players that, with the amount of this Super League matches, as you said in Discord right there, matches that we have up at hand, and also with the Premier League, I think you're kind of forced to have to rotate with the League Cup and kind of put that in the back burner. But I think we have enough talent on our side right there, and seeing how West Ham is kind of faltering a little bit right at the moment right there to to easily go through and rotate and have a successful side out there.
And Salim, what about you? What do you think up top? Do you think that Nunez will start again? Do you think Jota will get reinstituted with him not playing today? Do you think that Chiesa could get a run out from the start?
Yeah, I think Chiesa is going to play 60 minutes at least at West Ham. And I think you do start Darwin again just to see if he's got his goal scoring boots, like, ripping and roaring and ready to go. Gapco absolutely is on the left side. It's a full rotation in my opinion. I've said this even a couple weeks back when we first started talking about this. This is the position where you rest your players, but you keep a couple on the bench just in case. It's 0-0, 70 minutes in, and you want to pull it out. Bring in Salah, bring in Diaz, and get the business done on the back end if you don't have the match in hand. Real quick, Gally, I don't think it's stated enough about Manchester City's run-in. From game week 25 to 38, they play nobody in the top 6. Nobody.
Exactly.
So the fact that they go on these runs late, we're going to have a couple points in the bank coming to game week 25. It's really a race to game week 25, in my opinion. And then, just kind of like, claw and scratch our way in towards the last couple of games.
And it's kind of why I always say I do think you have to get ahead of these. I think you have to get ahead of this. You need to get out in front of them because we know how it's going to be, let alone the fact that if they get to January and they need something, they'll go buy it. With the fact that they know that there's a good chance by the end of the season that they could be facing massive punishments, if not transfer embargoes, bans, multiple windows. They don't know what the penalties will be, if there are any. And a lot of people are starting to say, I don't think it'll be expulsion from the league, and I don't think it'll be so many points. It'll probably be more hitting them in the pocketbook, not with fines, but with actual, blocks on business. So, don't be surprised if they go out similar to Chelsea in the last 4 windows and buy 18 players because they feel like there's a good chance that they're going to be 18 months to, 2 years without having the ability to buy and add new players in. So get you out of here on this. Give me a score result for West Ham, Brian.
I'm going to go with the Tamusha special 3-1.
I mean, honestly,
3-1 victory.
Yep.
I guess, I don't know, 2-1 or 1-0. This game is really not going to be that exciting from a standpoint of just the rotation. But again, I liked seeing Chiesa in today, so I'm going to tune in just to specifically watch him. I thought he had a really good start. But yeah, 2-1, 3-1, 1-0. So it's going to be like a 1-goal margin, I think, 3-2, something like that.
Spencer said 3-1 Liverpool. The Tamuchin special. You know how to get on good with the hosts on this channel. I'll save my Kenrick Pick Night. Welcome to the channel as well. 3-2 Liverpool. I'll save my prediction until tomorrow night when we do the show, as I know we will talk quite a bit about that. And for everybody watching today, whether you're on the pre-match show, the post, thank you for viewing. If you have not yet, get on over there, hit the like. Please give the page a subscription. You'll get all the content, the notifications. We do shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern. We also have Monday night podcast, Thursday night, the Thursday night fantasy show, the panel show, pre and post match. So we got you covered, as well as shorts, reels, and a whole bunch of debauchery as well. So for everybody at American Scouser TV, thank you for viewing. We will get you out of here like we always do on the post-match shows, and especially when we win. All right, everybody, have a great week, and we will see you soon.